and welcome back to another edition of Movies That Move We. Today we have a special guest, my daughter, Zenobia, and today we're going to be talking about the family film Wendell and Wild. Now, I know I kept saying, oh, we got another Jordan Peele film to do. We have another Jordan Peele. This is it. And Key and Peele both play characters in this. I'll say this. If you liked Coraline, I think you'll enjoy this. What do you think?
I love Coraline. So, like, as soon as I saw the animation, I was here for it. Like, I was ready for the movie, like, before it even came out.
Okay. So, as with anything Jordan Peele puts his hands on, there's a message. And as you watch this, you'll immediately you get the school to prison pipeline, you get prison systems, how they function, you get gentrification, you get all of that within the first 20 minutes. However, they managed to still keep a balance of these are the things that are going on in certain communities and keeping kind of a light touch to it so that you can walk away and let your 10-year-old watch it. And for your 10-year-old, it'll be, oh my gosh, she has to save the city kind of thing, you know? So that was fun. Jordan, like I said, Jordan Peele was a director, and also I have to find his name, forgive me. Actually the director from Coraline.
And he did Nightmare Before Christmas too.
Yeah, Henry Selick. Henry Selick actually wrote this. He wrote it, he directed it with Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele produced this. This is a Monkey Paw production. And even though the story was pretty specific as far as all the things I mentioned before with gentrification, prison pipeline, all of that other stuff, I can see them taking this whole story and putting it with another group, meaning ethnicities. You could put anybody of any ethnicity in the cast and the story still works. What do you think?
And I mean, I think they did with the girl Raul. I think she's Hispanic, and then her mom was like working as I believe a lawyer or public defender, something like that in the movie.
But I meant, the diversity within the cast is one thing. I'm saying if they were to redo this whole film 10 years from now, they could do a whole cast of white people, or a whole cast of Asian people, or a whole cast of Latino people, and stuff would kind of still, they could make the story work anywhere, which I think is a good mark of a story, which we saw that in Jingle Jangle, which we reviewed last year. It's just a very good stand-by-itself story, I think.
I also think, like, aside from even what you're talking about with gentrification and the prison system and all that, off the bat, like, when the movie first starts, my mindset automatically went to, this movie is going to tie in a lot to, like, mental health, too. Because, like, in the first clips, like, the first thing when you first watch the movie and they show the scene of, like, her parents passing away, and it was because she kind of, like, yelled out, and then her dad looked. In that moment, I'm sitting here like, wow, like, I wonder if she's gonna blame herself, like, the whole time or the whole movie because of that. And she ended up doing that.
Right.
Also, like, there's a scene where she's driving to, like, the new program that she's gonna be going to at the all-girls school. And as she passes on the bridge, the same bridge that her parents, like, passed away on, and she sees, like, the railing that broke, and they, like, restructured it and put caution tape and stuff like that on there, she immediately went into, like, a panic attack. And even the woman driving the car told her, you had a panic attack. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm fine. Like, it's like, I just like how they tied that into it as well, because especially with the generation that I think they're trying to appeal to. I think it's important to kind of show kids like what it looks like, what it feels like, because I know like growing up, you know, you have these instances happening in school and stuff like that, and kids don't really know what to call it, or they don't know what's going on. And it's like, I don't think it's until like, it hasn't been until recently that more people are becoming aware of it. But I think it's important to also teach like the younger generation about what's going on.
Yeah. Again, I would say, like, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable, and I don't think you're uncomfortable about letting a nugget watch it. Her daughter's 5 years old.
I don't mind Josie watching it. There was just one scene where I was like, oh my God, like, it was the scene, I'm trying to remember. It was with the two demons though. They're like having a conversation, I believe. Oh, it was with oh my God, what was his name? The Asian guy,
the priest.
The priest, yes. Okay. The father. That's what I was trying to get out. Uh-huh. They were talking to him after they resurrected him, and they said, we're going to put your janky ass back in the ground. And I'm sitting here like,
I missed that.
This movie is PG-13, but like when I was growing up, like, you know, PG-13 movies, as far as I remember, like, they were pretty like, okay, some things, it was like innuendo though. It wasn't like just coming right out and saying it. Well, so it was kind of like,
that's what I'm saying. Overall, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable with Josie sitting in front of this. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I missed that part, so I think it would probably go right past
it kind of blended in so well, and it's like, I hate to say it, but like, these kids probably worse. But it's like, you know,
I think it's better suited for like, even though they put the 13 label on it, I think 10-year-olds on up can handle it. And
actually, Josie was watching it, but Josie is so like
picky.
I don't even want to say it's not picky, but it's like she's very much like me in the sense of when she likes something, she sticks to it. So it's kind of like, I think it's going to take her a minute to get used to that movie, because I saw her watching it, but she was only watching like the first probably like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then she like turned it off to go back to watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl, because that's what she likes, or that's what she's used to. Yeah, that's what she's into. Mm-hmm. But I think with Jordan Peele films in general, even in some adults can't really like focus on it, or they can't really get jiggy with it too much, because, and I've heard this from my own friends, because I love Jordan Peele stuff, but because it makes me think, and I like to think about things, or I like to analyze situations. Mm-hmm. But if you're somebody that doesn't really like to analyze stuff, or you're not the type that's gonna go back and be like, oh, I gotta watch this movie again to kind of get each and every symbolism of it, like, it's probably not a movie for you. And I think for her at her age, like, she's just kind of like, okay, they're explaining too much. There's too much going on. Like, she doesn't understand what's really going on. So it's like, for her, it's just like, yeah, the visuals are nice, but like, yeah, I don't feel like watching this, because there's too much going on.
Right. Also, I think the other thing to remember about cartoons in general, and I'm about to give you a little bit of a history lesson, all right? Mm-hmm. So cartoons in general, animation was never created for kids.
Yeah, sure.
So all the way back in the 30s, all those cartoons that we used to love, the Betty Boop, what's the one with Felix the Cat, all of those things, even Looney Tunes, mm-hmm. those were directed to adults. And over time, people found that they had an appeal to kids. And then the Saturday morning cartoon was mm-hmm. kind of created. But even if you go back and you watch like the old Looney Tune cartoons and think about what was going on historically, like in the 20s and the 30s, you'll see those references in there. Mm-hmm. And adults from that time period will get it and go, yeah, I remember Prohibition. Yeah, I remember when we used to stand in soup lines and all of that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think they maintain that kind of element with this. Because again, the topics that we're talking about are things that adults will sit there and after this movie can have a whole barbershop, beauty shop conversation about afterwards, even down to the mental health piece. I mean, that they put right out front with the story, but I didn't look at it the way my daughter looked at it. But the dealing with your demons, mm-hmm. you know, her demons were was her guilt, her survivor's guilt, the guilt that she caused the accident because she was only 8 years old when it happened.
Yeah, she had guilt about like when she was in the prison, some girls were bullying her. She pushed one down the steps and something happened. So it's kind of like
she was carrying a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like she was carrying a lot of shame and guilt.
Right. And the thing is, I know people hear demons and they go, "Oh no, I can't possibly." This ain't a Disney movie, but the demons were goofy.
No, and even
they were
like
kind of goofy, and they weren't. What you come to realize is when you're dealing with stuff from your past, you call them demons because they're hard things to deal with, but they're not your enemy. It's like, all right, I have to get through that, realize where my power is so I can move forward. They have no power over me. That was one of the messages.
That was like the symbolism in it. I think like because I was even watching the movie around somebody that like is super like Christian and like just they think like anything with like demons, witches. Oh, I gotta watch that. I don't know if I could be around that. But it's kind of a situation where it's like, yeah, they're talking about the demons as like, and you see them visually, like, you know, the horns and tails and all the other stuff. But it's like, it really was a symbolic thing. Like, these demons represent something.
Right.
I even thought it was interesting at the end how, like, the father demon...
Well, don't get into that.
Sorry.
We don't want to give it away. But what she was about to get into is also family dynamics. Because they even touch on that a little bit. With the character Raul, they bring in... and I have a thing with when they bring LGBTQ into films. Are you doing it because it drives the story? Can you place this person in the story without sitting here and running down, okay, this is how you treat an LGBTQ person? What we saw was these two characters came in... what was the girl's name again?
Siobhan.
No, not Siobhan. I'm talking about the main character.
Oh my gosh!
This movie
came out on the 28th. I just watched it.
Looked at it. But anyway, the main character, Kat.
Kat. Yes.
The main character, Kat. She walks in with this energy of, I don't have no friends, because getting attached to people means somebody's gonna get hurt. She may be 13 years old by the time we meet her in the story, but she still has the 8-year-old emotion driving her. But she makes a connection with Raul, who is the only LGBTQ person at this Catholic school. Okay? And so what I loved about it is, yeah, you bring in an LGBTQ character, but you treat them like a person the whole time. You're not making it all about their LGBTQ.
And they even like made it a point to make sure they like stuck to the pronoun he.
Right.
Even and I think it was a little bit like when her parents came back to life, they visually saw Raul as a boy.
Right.
But it was still like, I liked how even I think as their relationship progressed and they kind of realized, oh, okay. It was like they kept that pronoun. Even in the beginning, it was like Siobhan. That's why I said her name. Was because Siobhan said she or her or something like that. And Raul corrected it. And she said, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Like,
right. It was like, yeah, she dead named her is what happened. Okay. So it's like, you know, they address it, but they don't beat you over the head with it. And the character gets to move through the story as just another character and not as a label. So I really loved that part of it, because anything else to me, if you do too much more, it feels like pandering to me, which I hate to see that in any movie, regardless of how somebody is labeled. But let's talk about the cast. So Wendell and Wild are played by Key and Peele. So they come back together for this, and I love it. You know, they have a natural dynamic, so it works for the characters that they're playing. Kat was played by Lyric Ross, and if any of you watched This Is Us, she was, what was her name, Deja? The young lady that they adopted at the end. Angela Bassett. I had a hard time placing her voice because I think they did a good job of capturing some of the features of the people who played the role in the characters. But that wasn't the case for Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett plays the nun, and she looks like a big old penguin. Tiny head, big shoulders.
I just have to say, and I had this conversation with my mom prior, I feel like there's a theme going on with that, where like they're really taking the cast members and having them reflect their character in the actual movie, in animation, I mean. So like, and I'm just briefly bringing it up, the movie Intergalactic that just came out, the same thing. The actors are very reflectant of their character. They look exactly like them. Or they look mostly like them. Similar. Yeah, like similar.
Or there's something in their demeanor that goes, oh, so-and-so does that.
In this movie, I felt like that was happening, even if it wasn't like they were like a dead match, because I feel like even like
with Kat's character,
she doesn't dead on look like her. But I was explaining to my mom, like, even down to the personality, it's like they kept that girl's general personality, which she has this very straightforward, no nonsense kind of like attitude. Even if you ever watch This Is Us, Deja's character is very like straightforward. I've been hurt in my past. Y'all not gonna come in here and play me. Like, that's her vibe.
She brought some of that over to this role.
Yeah, so it's like they keep the character. I like how they're using that theme now, where it's like, it seems like more of a natural or improv kind of thing that's going on. Like, it's like, yeah, you know, we wrote this story and we casted it to be a certain way, but we want you to bring out your person or your vibe into it. And I like that, because I mean, yeah, acting, it's an art. Like, you should be able to go into a room and completely floor somebody and make them think or believe something completely opposite from probably who you are at home. But it's just like cool to me that they're allowing actors and actresses to kind of like reflect their true personalities or how they are in general in film and all that now.
But what I was also saying to my daughter, I can see her still playing kind of a serious character in a comedy as well, kind of like Maxine Shaw in Living Single. As a matter of fact, if they ever decide to pick that up again and recast it, she could be Maxine.
And honestly, like, This Is Us was a very like serious, emotional, dramatic kind of show, but it had its comic relief moments. And there would be times where she would try Randall and say certain things to Randall that made you laugh. So it wasn't like, I could definitely see her doing a somewhat comedic role.
Playing the straight
man. I'm being honest, I could never see her playing something super bubbly or something super like preppy, and or like what? I could just never see it.
If
like,
she took that on and delivered, I'd be like, all right.
I'd be floored, honestly, because I just can't see it. I can't see it. Would be like if she was like that, it would be a persona or something. Like, it would be a switch up towards the end of the film or something. Like, I could never see her just being bubbly the whole time.
So somebody who you see at the beginning, and then, you know, he's kind of intermediate, and then he pops up at the end, Ving Rhames. That's right, Mr. Frying Bacon in the Kitchen with nothing on. Yes, Ving Rhames is in this. He plays Buffalo Belzer. And me and my daughter started gushing over this one character. How old is he? 93?
Yes. Yes.
James Hung. He is the workingest man in Hollywood. Okay, I know we think Sam Jackson is it, but no, he is the workingest man in Hollywood, which is saying something for an Asian character, because unless they're casted in an all Asian movie, we don't really see that a whole lot. How many films has he done?
Like 420 something films this guy's been in.
Man stays.
And he's 93 years old. I don't know at what age he started his career, but that means he's doing several movies a year.
And he does a lot of voiceover work, because he was Chifu? Was it? No, not Chifu. In Mulan, the original Mulan.
Yeah, he was like the sergeant or the general's assistant. But no, even recently he was in Turning Red, which came out last year. He's doing this movie.
Yeah, I think he's voiced a lot of Disney.
Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. Like, he's in a lot of different films. A lot of
stuff, so.
And it's like, this is repetitive. Like, you just keep doing voice work. Like, it's crazy.
Look, I'm happy for him. I want to be able to still be doing something I love at 93.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway. Out of 5 stars, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you give this?
I'm going to say a 4.5. I feel like the reason I'm saying that was because I was intrigued by the film. Mm-hmm. I did really love the film. I loved all the symbolism and stuff like that. I just think I might have been expecting a little bit more because I'm such a huge fan of that type of animation. Yeah, that style of animation. Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Corpse Bride, all of that. Visually, it was nice. I feel like maybe, I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to compare it to Coraline, but when I watched Coraline was a movie that, like, I was hooked when I was watching it because I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Mm-hmm. And with this movie, I didn't have that as hooked feeling. Mm-hmm. It was something I was invested in, but I wasn't like hooked like I was with Coraline. And Coraline, even years later, I've watched this movie a million times. I'm still hooked every time I watch it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I love this movie. What's
that's like, Neil Gaiman. That's a whole nother conversation. He does some just amazing work. And he has Nancy Boys coming out soon, I think, on Netflix.
I didn't hear about that.
Excuse me. So we'll be talking about that because Anansi is one of the Orishas. But anyway, I think I'd give it a 4. I'd give it a 4. I love the story. Love the animation. I love that finally we're seeing representation in that type of animation. It's a solid story. I think, and the thing is, like I said, they didn't really beat you over the head and preach at you about what they were saying. You got it head on. But from the onset, I was like, yeah, kids could watch this, but this is for the grown-ups. This is for the grown-ups. And I almost wish that they told the story in a little bit more of a subtle way so that kids could get into it, because this isn't a bad thing for kids to learn about, but I think for what it is, I'll give it a 4. It's a good story, great animation. They had a great cast on it. I'll watch it again, and I anticipate a sequel.
That's what I was saying too, is like, I feel like
they left room for it.
It's like I could see a sequel coming from it. I actually am really excited to see more of this type of, like, I guess, animation, like my mom was saying, with more representation of us, because I feel like even when I first saw Soul, when Soul came out, I was really excited. My daughter loves that movie too. Mm-hmm. And it really, like, I don't know, I really enjoyed that because it's like, wow, I'm seeing, like, more things about even just our culture, our history. I would love to see that more in, like, animation, because I feel like we're starting to be more in, like, live action films and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm just now starting to see more of our skin color in animation. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see that. I keep bringing it up because I really like the movie. I really like it. But Intergalactic was it for me. And that's another one that's like, it's more geared towards adults. It's definitely not a kid's film. But as far as animation goes, like, it just hit all the marks for me.
Okay, so let's get this recorded right now. Will you come back and do Intergalactic with me?
I am here for, like, I literally love this movie and I'm wanting more. Like, see, that's what I mean by, like, this movie that came out here, you know, the Wendell and
Wild.
Yeah, Wild movie. It intrigued me because of the animation style, and I was excited for that, and I'm excited to see representation and all of that. it just didn't hook me the same way. I don't know. I can't really explain it. It just didn't hook me.
As heavy as the topic was, it was a gentle story.
It was. Like, it wasn't like, story. And it's, I don't know, it was kind of like predictable. Like, as soon as they started mentioning her demons and stuff, I'm like, yeah, this girl is going to have to go through a cycle of like actually working out her demons and working some things out. But it just didn't grab me as much as like other films or other animations that I've seen. But Intergalactic, I'm telling you, that's like a whole, I feel like that's going to have to be like an hour. I don't think I can do 30 minutes. That's just such a, and I like, and the fact that like a musical artist came together and did it, put his music into it, bought other music artists, other actors into it.
Don't give too much away.
I'm just saying, like, it's
all of that.
It's worth more than 30 minutes of time. Like, it really is something that I want to see more of.
So that wraps us up for today. The month of November and December, I'm probably going to only get a couple of shows in because holidays, holidays happen. So I'll make sure to let you guys know what we're doing next. Sometime in the month, I want to do soul food.
Oh, so that's another good. That's when holiday. I feel like me and you did talk about soul food. This had to be.
We even watched soul food together?
No, it was when. So I was living here. This was before I moved into my own place, but I was living here, and I was like in the room watching it on my tablet, and I'm like, I think I came out here and I started talking to you about it, and I'm like, I was just bringing up certain points, but that is a good movie. I feel like to do. Especially for the holidays and stuff.
We'll be doing that for Thanksgiving, but I'll let you know what we're doing next week. In the meantime, make sure you follow your moderators, me, nikkeiwrites.wordpress.com. I'm working on my website, so you'll have one less word to type in there. Nicole, you can find her at NicoleDeCandice.com. You can find her Nicole DeCandice on Facebook. Heck, just Google Nicole DeCandice. You'll find her, okay? Just Google her. She's working on some great stuff right now. If you don't have a copy of her book, I Affirm Today, run on over to Amazon and grab a copy. Speaking of books, Don's book is also available on Amazon, the Brandywine Trilogies. Great Christmas gift. Reading material, great Christmas gift. Go ahead and get yourself a copy of that. Brandywine Trilogies by Don Miskell. Okay? And Robert Rice Jr., the music you heard at the beginning, Robert Rice Jr., smoothology.net. Check him out. Listen to his music on his website. Download. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Thank you for joining. We got to do it again.
Yes, definitely.
And until next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.